Okay, I'm recording again. This is part two. I thought about yesterday putting together how I was going to start doing this. I'm actually not very comfortable being on a stage or being on a camera um, because it's sort of like you got to think about what you want to say when it's it's sort of like um, as crazy as this is going to sound to a lot of people. Okay. Uh, when you experience the past, present, future simultaneously, like I had an experience the other day where I have fun with this stuff. Okay. I was actually having a conversation in the mirror with my future self, communicating with me and my present moment self. So you have a present moment, and then you have the next present moment, the next present moment after that, and the next present moment after that, which is on an event horizon. Okay. That's your timeline. Okay. So as I knew when I was a child, okay, that timeline zero is what love is. Okay, so it's like I got a life raft. So sometimes the way I explain this, because if you were using a different language, like you were from another planet and you used a different being and used a completely different kind of symbolic language, then I would use whatever language you use in order to essentially impart the same information, because the same information is universal. When Stephen Greer talked about universal peace and universal love and universal consciousness, he's absolutely right. Which it means it's like, hey, you're wherever the light is. Yeah, of course. Because everything that you're experiencing is what love is. Okay? But trying to explain how this works to beings who don't experience that is the challenge. How to communicate something to somebody that they don't experience, okay? And this, I'll share this with you because I can tell you 1,000 different stories that go on forever because I'm a storyteller. I was very happy in my heart for you, Karen Ann Luke McDonald, a fellow AB positive clan member of White Bear Tribe, okay? But what I will share about you with this, and that is, and I've always known this about me, okay? I can be in anything. When I was in Hawaii, I thought I'll just go do tree duty. I'll go be a tree for a day, exchanging the energy, the breathers. I'll go be a breather for a day. You want to be a lion for a day? Put on a lion suit. So it's like, these are conversations that I have with myself. Wherever you find love and living spirit, you'll find me. So I can come in any form I want, which means choose your presentation. What do you want to be? That's your creative imagination. Okay? That's the right side of the right hemisphere, if you will, okay? The female side of your creative ability. And then you got the intelligent side, the logic side, the mathematical side, and between the two of them, man, you can do all kinds of stuff, right? Okay, so you got CQ and IQ. But for me, ever since I was a child, it all starts with heart. That's where all the light is. That's where all the love is. Okay, so when you're a love energy broadcaster, you want to broadcast. Wherever you go, you're a lighthouse, a beacon. Hey man, I call it a cosmic antenna. Park that motherfucker in the planet. And that lets everybody else in the universe know I'm here. Come and rescue me. I call it a Laniakea cosmic antenna. Okay, which means I'm signaling. Okay, because you're everywhere. No shit, I'm everywhere. So, and you know that because in the previous video, you can see a serious face on me. Because I take things very seriously. The commander of the Earth Defense Force, Patty Broussard, bless her heart, I love you with all my heart, girl. God knows the job that you did here was just, I've cried tears, buckets of tears, over what you were able to do and why you're here. And my biggest issue ever since I was a child here, because when I was about 8 years of age, I didn't want to be here. Okay? And that's because those that are deeply empathic, okay, that love everything. In other words, wherever we find anything that's moving, that's energy, you want to give it light, give it love. So whenever you're experiencing anything that's losing any light, you experience the pain, the loss of energy in that. And for me, it can be anything. When I walk on the sidewalk, I avoid stepping on ants. So you can imagine the difficulty that I would have in a place like this. Because it doesn't matter how small you are, how big you are, or whatever you are. If you're alive and I'm aware of you, then I don't want to do anything that's going to cause you any harm, because if you do, I'm going to experience that loss of energy in you that I experienced that is in me, which is like being in the center point, which is a single point between both. Which is why one of the reasons I had such a difficulty as a child, my mother couldn't figure out, because I grew up in a well-to-do family. I actually picked the family that I chose to jump into in order to be here during this period of time. I wrote my own timeline. I didn't figure that out until 2016, even though your intuition, which is your future self, communicating to your present moment self, when you already know your timeline and you've already lived it. If that makes any sense to any of you. Okay. Okay. But when you're an eternal being and you're like up there observing yourself, down there running a time clock, it's like, okay, write your time clock. Because you realize that you're coming into a place in which this is the one that's going to go. This is the one that's going to be for all the marbles. Which means, she wasn't going to rewind the clock again. So this is the one that goes. This is the one that fixes it. Okay, so you know these things as a child simply because I realized that no matter where you go, no matter what you experience, which is a communication. And I realized as a child, I don't give a shit where that communication is coming from, whether it's a TV set, whether it's a magazine, whether it's a publication, whether it's another human being. I don't care how that communication signal comes. But when you're an empath, because you're experiencing all the energy between past, present, and future, anything that I experience that I become aware of is anything less than what love is, man, that motherfucker gets deleted. Okay? But you've got to hold that data, because that data represents the program. Okay? So you realize they're running a program. Yes, they are. That's the difference in the speed. The shit that you put into memory, and then the shit that you end up expressing later, which represents the program that you're running. So that's easy to sort of impart and put on a blackboard if I was to do that, which is input-output. Garbage in, garbage out. Toxic in, toxic out. Okay, so all you got to do is look around the planet, and I'll just share this with you because I did this. I spent 4 years 3 years really, 16 hours a day in a motel room with a laptop, doing nothing but collecting data. Going through all the peer-read scientific journals, deleting this, throwing that out, because it's always going to have a frame of reference based on speed of the communication, which represents what love is. So that's how when you go through their school system, okay, you begin to throw shit out, because what you're measuring is value. Okay, so I realized when I was a child, okay, we're measuring value. What has value? What has the greatest value? So what you're doing is, and Patty will explain this to you as coursework, is you don't want to hang on to anything that doesn't have any value to you, because you already learned it. So what did you learn to become? Pure light. Okay, so how do you do that? Purification. How do you do that? That's a lot of fire. That means that everything that you're experiencing that is anything less than what love is, man, you got to burn that shit off.